This basically makes me not move, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. We're on day 6 right now. I think this is the first vlog I ever started in the bathroom. Ever. That I can think of. So if you look careful, this is the other type where it kind of goes over your shoulders right there. And that actually looks incredibly terrifying. Would not want that one at all.
Show Daddy what you do. Go.
Shh. Yeah? You have fun when we do this? Duck. Duck. Yes, these are ducks. I don't know what kind of ducks these are. I still have not looked them up. Our old guy's out there just chilling.
Talk to a pharmacist?
Trying to talk to a pharmacist. Pharmacist. I hate the cheap ones. Like the Apple ones are great. You can like do an entire like conversation with them. With like Walgreens, you have to like yell it over and over and over, and then tap the buttons about 40 million times. Pharmacist.
We hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe.
Having fun, bud? Yeah? This makes me feel a lot better. Whee! I haven't been doing this for like 3 minutes and down. Yesterday I briefly mentioned how I was kind of feeling the effects a little bit more than I normally actually have been. I'm pinpointing what it is that I think every time I don't want to say slow down, but every time I take naps or if I just sit around, that's actually when I start feeling a little bit crappier. My game plan has been to kind of just stay active to the point of still not being too active, but enough to keep my body going and stuff like that. And then when I get really tired, I take a rest. But yesterday, since I rested, I felt like crap. Today, I'm not resting. I'm taking a little one out there for a walk. I want to kind of talk a little bit of what it's like and how the process goes with undergoing like radiation and chemo and all that stuff, because a lot of people kind of ask me what that's like. And I figured now, since I have all the actual, stuff I could show you, the visual versus me just speaking, because I'm not a very illustrated speaker, I can go over it. So once I get this little one home, I can do that. So I wanted to address part of the video right here for those who have been asking about what it's like to go through radiation. If anyone's like me, when something I'm about to go through, whether it's traveling or treatments like this or surgeries, I actually make the plunge and I go on YouTube and I do what people aren't supposed to do, is Google things. So I wanted to kind of do a little my side of the story and kind of show what it's like. Those who are a little afraid of potentially going through it or trying to understand, a family member that might be going through it or something along those lines. But I have to bring out my little trusty handy dandy notebook. I'm going to read the definition of what radiation treatment is. I really honestly don't understand it. It's so fascinating. Radiation therapy or radiotherapy, often abbreviated RT, is a therapy using ionizing radiation, generally as a part of cancer treatment to control or kill malignant cells, delivered by a linear accelerator, which is interesting because I think a couple days ago I told you guys about how like years ago it was kind of like throwing like a ball down a hallway kind of thing, where it's like hopefully it hits what you kind of need to hit. So first things first, when you go in, you see this big giant daunting machine. It's just like this giant thing. You see these arms, you see the thing going down, it looks like a giant microscope, and then you look to your sides, usually is like these other masks that people are formed, like the face. So it kind of looks like I made the joke to the radiologist, is that it reminds me of the labyrinth, like when all the things are coming through the or every scary movie ever, where like some weird blob comes through like a wall and it's just like, kind of like that. And then you have this table where it's like outlined for a person. So like you just lay down and then you see these little rivet things. You lay down and then they put this crazy gnarly looking mask on your face. Now, the interesting about this mask is that prior to doing this, you have like a consultation thing. And what they do is they form this like piece of plastic. It's essentially, it's a flimsy plastic. And they put it, it's relatively warm. They put it to your face and they kind of push in like this. So it's like completely contoured. It's your mask. Like you can't get somebody else's mask because it won't fit. Unless you guys have exactly the same faces, you're gonna have your own particular mask that fits you. And the reason for that is, if you see, you can see that I can't move or really do anything. Like you're just basically head's completely still, which is good because if you think about it, you have this laser that's kind of coming down and going to a specific section. And if you move, it's not like it's going to be like zapped like a James Bond movie or something like that, Star Wars, but it's not going to hit where it needs to hit. So as scary and as daunting as these masks look, kind of are, I shouldn't say they are because they're not, I'm 6 days in, so I don't find them scary anymore. I feel like it's more, they're very important because without that, like you'd be moving and stuff like that. What you usually have to do is you have to sit down, they strap you down, and not like strap you down, that sounds really bad, but you lay back and they put the mask over your face. They put these little things along the outside of your head. It kind of pins you down like buttons, so that way you can't lift up or anything. So what I suggest for anyone ever having to go through it is start counting in your head. So like the second the mask goes on, close your eyes, start counting the minute, the second. It's helped me a lot because it gives me something to focus on. What happened the first couple times is because you're stuck in this little thing, right? And then all these things are going around. As you can see, these giant like arms are kind of circling and turning around. Those arms are basically the lasers and the lead and all this stuff that I don't really understand too much, but it's going around your body and your head and wherever it needs to go. I've made the mistake at the beginning where I would like kind of like open my eyes because it's a general, like, your curiosity, you know, gets to you. I would suggest closing your eyes and start counting by seconds and just counting it and seeing if every single time you get the same time. So far I've gotten 4 minutes and 57 seconds. But what's really kind of, it's mind-boggling to think about is when you're strapped down and you're sitting there and you really truly think about what's going on. As you can see, all those things are going around doing its thing, and you have no idea the power and precision and scientific amazingness that's going on right there. And it's just, it blows my mind, no pun intended. And the reason why I really honestly wanted to talk and explain this stuff and show some of these weird things is because I wanted to show, seems scarier, but coming from somebody who's going through it, I find it to be way less scary than an MRI. If you've ever been in an MRI, like especially for your head or anything where you have to have a full body in there, those are way worse. And if you can get through those things, honestly, this, I don't want to say it's nothing, but this feels like a cakewalk because you can see it's wide open. You're not like this. But what does it feel like? Okay, so that's another question people ask. So what does it feel like, you know? Does the radiation hurt? No, you don't feel anything. Like if they didn't tell you what you were doing, you would have no idea that any radioactive waves are going around. It doesn't hurt. A really interesting thing is I asked about was, because I've had friends that have gone through it and then they've gone to work the next day and things like that, or they drove home, or they just go about their normal life. And I asked my doctor today because I had a follow-up. This is for every Thursday because I have a follow-up with him. I was asking, I was like, you know, like I was just curious because of the fact that, you know, things are zapping in my head. Does this lower my immune system, or does this do anything that could be really, honestly, potentially hazardous to my immune system? Don't quote me on this because I might be misunderstanding, mishearing what he's saying. But from what I'm understanding is that where my stuff is, there's very little marrow that really kind of affects things, as long as it's not like at a certain like section to where it could affect like your bone structure or like your blood flow or like your lymph nodes or something like that. It really doesn't really affect that as much as you would think. Please, I'm not a doctor. Please don't take this verbatim what I'm saying. Always ask your doctor. I'm here to say that it looks scarier than it actually is. If you're not going through that stuff, hell freaking yes. I hope you never have to. But if you need to relate to somebody who might be like a friend and they can't explain it, maybe this video and these little things that I showed you will help kind of make it more relatable and sympathetic to what they might be going through. So this adventure is continuing. So please don't forget to subscribe, especially if you might be going through something like this. We could do this together. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, build each other up. I can support you, you can support me. We can, all the people watching these videos can support you because we have some amazing viewers out there that watch these videos too. Hope today's video is a little educational. Something you don't usually get from me, right? Alright, so we'll see you guys later.